morning, St. Francis. Good morning, people of God. It is Tuesday, the 27th day of June, 2023, Tuesday of the 12th week of the year, the 12th week in Ordinary Time. Once again, I just got done with Mass, so the Great Green Slope is finally being watered, so that's nice because it's getting a little bit of brown spots everywhere. So coming around the community center and the gymnasium here at St. Francis, some building and work going on. The lower parking lot, the TFS parking lot, is being repaved finally, so that's going on, so you can only get access through half of the campus today. As we come close to the close of the month of June already, we are in the summer, yes, but almost halfway through with our summer holidays. So it's like everything keeps moving quickly. But our readings for today, Genesis continues with Lot and Abraham trying to decide, how to divvy up the land that they have moved into. Again, Lot is Abraham's kinsperson. We don't exactly know how. I don't think it's ever mentioned if he was a nephew or if he was a cousin or whatever it was, but there is conflict between both of their families in the tribes, in the herds, and who's grazing where and not grazing where, and kind of moving in on territories and things like that. And so they agree to split the land equitably. And the problem is that there are also people who are in that land already. Again, it's the promised land in one way, but some people didn't realize that it was not promised to them, and so basically they have to move those other people out, which again becomes very dicey, and this is where all the wars begin and problems begin and stuff like that. But in one way, it is as if Abraham and Lot are also trying to squeeze out the people who are there, or trying to find a place to live with the people who already are in the promised land, who were not chosen by God, it seems, and so are going to be displaced somewhat. So with this, again, Genesis it's a very interesting book, and there's a lot of questions and things like that. And again, while we hold it up as the source of all that is wrong with the world, with the garden and things like that, we have to be careful about what's going on and what's being said, because it's a complicated book. What is good about this, again, is that God, the third time, in just what we've heard yesterday and today, basically reemphasizes and reaffirms the fact that the part that Abraham takes, the part of the land that Abraham takes, will give rise to generations that are numerous and will fill the earth and things like that. Again, God's promise to this aging man who, most people would think life was over and everything that he could have done was ended, is now becoming the source, of a new thing that God is doing within this world, a new thing that's going to bring many people into this world and many wondrous things into this world. In Matthew's Gospel today, basically the bottom line in Matthew's Gospel: don't be dumb, and that's basically it. Again, after the Sermon on the Mount, there's like a whole bunch of pithy sayings that Jesus said that Matthew remembers. They're kind of strung together, and so today, the three: don't throw pearls before swine or dogs or whatever it is. Make sure that you do to others as you would have them do to you. And then again, the whole idea about the narrow road, the narrow gate, whatever it is. Wisdom is supposed to be something that characterizes what it means to be a believer in this world. We are not dish rags and doormats. Although sometimes when we take a look at the saints, and we read them erroneously, it seems that again the saints reveled in being a dish rag and a doormat for others, and somehow God loved that when people beat up on people and made them feel terrible and awful. It's like that's not good, because what it does is that it creates this terrible dichotomy, this terrible division between the good earth that we live in now and the wondrous afterlife we will be given once we pass from this life to the next. When people treat you badly here, if sometimes it was understood is because here is bad to begin with, and so you're in for heaven. No, because that discredits God's goodness in this world. It discredits what it is that God says this world is, and it is good. Again, even with some kind of thing that happens in a garden with a man and a woman and a snake and an apple, read Genesis correctly and use wisdom, because that's where the narrow gate is. We can become people who panic and who go to extremes, all kinds of other things, just like everybody else, whenever we experience what the world throws at us. But to go through that narrow gate or take that narrow road allows us to see more deeply and more clearly, what it is that is important, what it is that matters, and where it is that God is at work. Listen. Listen, listen, listen. That is what matters. Not becoming some kind of martyr for whatever it is, because martyrdom is not something ever one seeks for, and not something that God basically says makes God happy. If we forget that, then basically we turn ourselves into what we are not. Then we don't become revelation or incarnation in this world. And that is what God asks us to be. That is what God needs us to be in this world. And the act of wisdom and knowing how to act and how to respond appropriately is what demonstrates that to the world. A glorious day, St. Francis and people of God. May the Lord always give you his peace.